Hello, hello, and welcome to our webinar. This is Andrew Townsend here with eLearning Brothers, and just a reminder, this webinar is a beginner's guide to Camtasia tools, just to make sure you're in the right place. Today we'll be talking about some basics in Camtasia, and to walk us through that introduction, we've brought Lon Naylor from LearnCamtasia.com on board. Lon, you there?
I'm here.
We're glad to have you, Lon. Lon is experienced with screencasting. He knows Camtasia pretty well, very, very well, as a screencasting tool as well as in conjunction with PowerPoint. We are recording this webinar and we'll post it to our page for you to find in the future. Lon, my understanding is that you're going to be taking us through quite a bit of introductional information. Is that right?
That's the plan. That's what we thought would be some good content, and it's kind of exciting to help folks hopefully get started on the right path. So I'm ready to rock.
Awesome. Also, keep in mind that we will be having people available for you to ask questions to. You can use the questions box, and we'll be able to take your questions. And every once in a while, we'll field one of those questions for Lon to answer through the webinar. If you have any questions about our Camtasia templates here at eLearning Brothers, you're welcome to send in those questions as well, or give us a call, or send us an email, or just visit our site. There's a lot of things that you can learn about us there. And there's also more educational videos and webinars offered by Lon through LearnCamtasia.com, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in the future. But without further ado, I'll go ahead and turn the screen over to you, Lon, and take it away.
All right, that sounds like fun. I'll get kind of racked up here, and hopefully in just a second you'll all be able to see my screen. If you could just give me a thumbs up on that, we'll make sure we're not doing anything stupid.
Yep, we see a beginner's guide and a wall with some marker on it.
How about that? And so what we're going to do today basically is throw a bunch of stuff against the wall and see what sticks. Kind of a beginner's guide to Camtasia tools, tips, tricks, and tactics. As Andrew mentioned, my name's Lon Naylor, and I'm kind of a video producer, coach, trainer, speaker. I've been using Camtasia since version 1. And as a senior engineer with Microsoft during the decade of the 90s, I've actually been using PowerPoint since before it shipped to the public. So hopefully, over all that time, I've learned a couple things, and my goal tonight is just to kind of share them with you. So that's kind of enough about me. Let's kind of jump into this right away. Now, when Brother Andrew kind of approached me about this, he threw out a topic of the beginner's guide. And first of all, I just kind of, to come up with my content, I was wondering, what does that mean exactly? And if by a beginner we're talking about someone that has never cracked open Camtasia, in other words, you don't know how to move around in the software at all, we certainly won't be able to cover all the basics of those kinds of things in a presentation like this. So what I'm going to suggest, of course, is that if you are an absolute beginner, that you go to TechSmith and watch their tutorials. See, the thing of it is that Camtasia doesn't actually create videos. You create videos. So learning the software and which buttons to push and all the different things that can happen in software, it's just a tool, basically. So I'm going to kind of do a little bit different kind of a thing here and step outside of the box just a touch here. So when I thought about beginner, I kind of thought, you know, what might be kind of useful is what are some of the things that I wish I'd known when I first started. And hopefully over the course of the presentation here, what we'll do is kind of get you started maybe into using the software after you've learned the very fundamentals through the tutorials that are out there and available, and there are tons of them, trust me, and see about some of those aspects that are just going to help somebody get started better and do things more efficiently, quicker, and easier than are covered in most of the traditional tutorials. So I got some nice things racked up for you here. We're going to talk about the absolute #1 tip for a beginner. And I'll give you a little spoiler, it has nothing to do with Camtasia. Okay. After that, I'm going to jump into a little bit of suggestions and content on letting you know as a video creator, it's not just about the software, right? 70% of what you create as a video actually is this. We will get into Camtasia, and I'm going to call it beginner hacks. In other words, those things that are really kind of handy-dandy to pick up on right away, or even if you're a seasoned professional, I'll bet there might even be a few things you don't really know that I'm going to show you how to do that are going to make things easier. Okay, PowerPoint, we mentioned just a little bit earlier, is an awesome tool for creating video content, and I'm going to give you a couple of quick tips and tricks there. Because no matter what kind of video you're making, we can almost always benefit from some kinds of content in this fashion. And if you care to stick around to the end, I kind of sprung this on Andrew at the beginning of the presentation here. I've got a really kind of nice freebie for you at the end, okay? So let's kind of jump in here. I wonder if anyone might pose a guess as to what is the absolute #1 thing you can do to instantly make better quality videos. And it again has nothing to do with Camtasia itself, right? So let's get started on the right track here. I'm going to submit that the #1 thing you can do is to ace your audio. And the reason for that is because if you've ever listened to a video that has very horrible audio, it will crush you right out of the gate. Nothing else matters. You can have the best video in the world, but if your audio stinks, then you're done out of the gate. Conversely, you can get by with marginal quality video if your audio is actually dialed in, right? So I'm going to give you a couple of big tips and scenarios here. First of all is the #1 offender, the #1 problem that a lot of folks have with their audio, and it has to do with what I call booming P's and B's. And maybe you guys have heard this before. You're listening to a video and every time the speaker says a word that starts with a P or a B, you get this big, horrible burst of distortion and noise and garbage. Okay? This happens especially when you're using like a headset microphone. You know, the kind you put on your head and it has the microphone and it wraps around, right? So here's what we're going to do. Let's do a little experiment, a little audience participation. Okay? I'm going to show you how to fix this problem forever. So everybody take your hand, I don't care which one, right? You got a hand, take it, and put it about palm towards your face, about 2 inches from your mouth, right? Almost like you're kind of doing a home breathalyzer test or something like that. Okay, everybody ready? Now in your big girl or big boy voice, say the word go. Go. Okay, now say the word pick. Pick. Everybody feel that? Do you feel that forceful burst of air? That's what causes the major problem. Here's how to fix it forever. Now move your hand about 2 inches right or left, just so it's not right in front of your mouth, and say the word pick. Pick. Okay? Once you get rid of that forceful burst of air, which by the way is called a plosive, and it happens just by nature of how humans speak. Certain consonants that we say require and necessitate this forceful burst of air. P, B, K, T, right? So the way to fix that, again, is to just simply get the microphone directly out of the path of your mouth, right? So that's probably one of the biggest things that you can see as far as improving your audio quality, if that is a problem, and it is the #1 problem. Another thing that a lot of us have is maybe a more studio quality mic like this, and you can also use something called a pop filter. that's what this little doodad right here is. It's basically a mesh screen that simply breaks up that forceful burst of air before it gets to the poor little microphone and causes all that distortion. Okay. Now this particular picture actually depicts one other aspect that I'll touch on real quick. This is a picture of every professional vocal recording you will ever see. And the reason for that is because this mic is about, this distance from this person. The biggest thing when you want to get full, rich, deep sound, good quality audio narration as an example, is to get the mic up close and personal. I see a lot of folks using microphones like on your webcam that's sitting far away, or on a camera mic that's mounted on a tripod across the room. One of the other big things about audio is that if you do not get up close and personal, your audio will sound tinny and hollow and just echoey, and that's not good. It could be so much better by simply getting up close and personal. Here's why. Our next audience participation move is to take that hand that you used before and place it on your body at the very top of your chest, just below your neck, right? So do that, and then just say something, and you'll feel, right? You'll feel all this vibration. Microphones don't pick up sound, they pick up vibration, and they translate that vibration into digital representation of sound. Okay, your eardrums do exactly the same thing. So what you'll see in every professional recording here, notice the mic. Notice it's pointing slightly downward. The reason for that is it's picking up all of those vibrations. And those vibrations that you feel right now at the bottom of your neck are called your chest voice in the recording industry. You can actually do another little experiment. Take your hand and kind of cover your eyes so it's over your nose and speak. And you will feel what's called your head voice. In other words, all the vibrations coming from your nasal cavities and even your skull for that matter. That is the pure secret to full, rich, deep sound. Okay, if you don't ace the audio, you're going to be hosed from the get-go. So that's kind of a big tip. One of the ways to get your mic up close and personal is to maybe use a boom stand if you're not using a headset, of course. A lot of times we might as well, and we should be using a high quality mic. You can get a full studio quality mic for around $100 anymore. So there's no real reason not to. So you can get a boom stand for a mic, $20. I happen to use what's called a scissor boom. So this attaches to my desk and it gets all kinds of up close and personalization, and it's all just yummy audio goodness at that point. Okay, so hopefully that's the number one thing you can do. I'm hoping all of you will go ahead and jump on that because it's like a huge thing, and I cannot emphasize it enough. Okay, let's see, what else can we do? I will kind of make the comment here that, and it might not surprise some of you to know, that creating videos isn't about, like I mentioned, using software. It might not surprise you to know that by the time I finish planning my video, I'm basically 70% done with the video. So there's lots of information and topics out there on planning and scripting and storyboarding and all that good stuff, but I'm going to give you just a couple of top level kinds of things here real quick. Okay, because here's the thing, creating videos is a process. Every video you create will go through this process to one degree or another. It starts with planning and then preparation of gathering your recordings and your materials and all that good stuff. Then we record, then we edit, we produce, and then we market or distribute our videos, right? So failing to plan is planning to fail, essentially, but it depends on how important a video is. For a professional e-learning course, I'm going to spend a bunch of time planning because all of this activity here is sequential. okay? The more I plan and the better I prepare, that which I record shall be more easily edited. So you can do yourself a favor and do some planning up front, plan your content, and keep things organized and structured. And I'm going to kind of give you a couple of those quick tips on how to do that. Okay, so let's think about this for a second. Let me jump out of the slides real quick. Oh, actually, I'll go back in here. The number one thing that I'm going to show you is a concept that I call show the last thing first. And this has to do with planning your content, what you're going to deliver to your folks. So let's jump over to an example real quick. So I do a lot of tutorial videos, and the way you might structure content like this is, well, if I'm going to be showing someone how to do something in Camtasia, this is kind of how you might think it would roll, right? So here I'm kind of demonstrating how to do something, right? Now, in this particular tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and pause this and jump to the beginning for a second, and I want you to notice what I do here. So to start my video, notice what it says. We're going to create this, and I'll let this roll. Okay? It's a very cool little asset. And then I jump into the content. The reason I do such a thing is because in the marketing world, it's called a hook. And in our videos, what we kind of want to do is to make sure that people, watch your videos. And in today's world, people are very fickle when it comes to their attention span. And again, in marketing, you have less than 10 seconds to grab someone's attention. But even in the e-learning world, as an example, we still want to engage our viewer, and we want to get them interested and excited about what it is they're going to learn, okay? And so when I come to thinking about creating my content, I always try to see if there's a way to show the single coolest, most must-have, kick-butt thing, whatever I'm trying to teach someone, gets them at the end of the day, and see if there's a way to show it first. Boom, right off the bat. Get them engaged and things like that. And you'll find that people will consume your content much more happily and be much more satisfied with it. It's simply what I call show the last thing first. Now, there won't always be a way to do that, but a lot of times there is, so always try to think of, yeah, that's maybe a good tip for creating content, right? Another aspect to kind of getting started right has to do with organization. And this is probably the least sexy of all the topics, but at the end of the day, it's probably going to save you most time. Okay, so here is my file structure on my computer. I keep a media library where I have all my audio tracks and my eLearning Brothers templates and assets and resources, fonts, graphics, sound effects, video clips. These are things that I use repetitively. Okay, so I keep all that stuff in their own folder. But when I create a video project, let me give you just an example. In fact, on my one of my Facebook groups today, somebody posted a picture. Oh, and I didn't open it up. Let me get this because this is just too good. This is what someone asked a question. How do you organize your content for your videos? And this particular person, this is what their organization looks like, okay? Everything's stored on their desktop, and if this looks like the way you are working on your videos, I'm going to suggest that you're kind of setting yourself up for a little bit of frustration, right? So clearly, keeping a directory structure organized is kind of the way to go. You'll find and I'll kind of open up a bad example here, that when you mix all this stuff together, all of your audio narration files, and here I have my script and my storyboard and my screen recordings and video clips and all this stuff, if you just kind of jumble it all together, then you'll find yourself hunting and pecking and wondering where stuff is. So let me give you a quick suggestion here. I have what I call a master project directory. Okay, and this is just what I organize my projects as, right? So I'll kind of leave this just for a second, but in essence, all my audio narration and audio stuff goes in one folder. All my documents, my scripts and stuff like that. The graphics that are specific to the project. When I produce out of Camtasia, I put them all in a folder. My project files. So you can see I kind of have a directory structure, and here's kind of the secret sauce. Whenever I start a new project, watch what I do. All of these, let me just back that up, all of these are basically just empty folders. This is a placeholder. It's a master. So watch what I do. I just right-click on this and say copy. I then can go into where I store my projects, a folder, and then right-click and paste. And then all I have to do is rename that folder. And let's see, where is it? Let's try that again. Paste. Oh, right. So it pasted it. And then all I have to do is rename this to my new project. My new project. There we go. And when I open it up, a whole directory structure that is consistent, that I use every time. All my recordings are always here. All my video clips are always here. And that's where I start to put the things for my new project. Okay? So hopefully that's a couple of quick little things that are going to help folks out. Do we have any kind of questions on that so far?
Yeah, we've got a
Or are
few
we good to go?
questions here. We have just a few questions for you, Lon. The first one, someone asked about headsets versus mounted mics. What is your opinion on that, or your experience with those?
Sure, that's a good question. I actually use both. For webinars, I like a headset because I can get pretty good quality sound, and as I move my head around, you know, on a webinar, I might get up, I might have to look at other screens or grab something, so it's kind of nice to have that audio stick with me because I'm moving. When I'm producing or recording a formal course or, you know, almost any other kind of video, I'm probably using a studio quality mic. Again, just because the quality of the sound is so superior that that's how I'm going to get a lot of that good, rich, deep sound. So that's kind of my criteria for using one or the other, but I do use both.
All right. Another question is, as we move into the Camtasia portion, what version of Camtasia will you be showing?
I will be showing the latest, greatest version of Camtasia 8.6. Okay.
All right, great. That's all that we've got for now.
Okay, let's do this then. Let's jump over to Camtasia real quick. And I'll just show you a few things. First of all, Camtasia is software, and in 35 years of working in the software industry, one of the things that I've found is that a lot of times, especially with beginners, you'll open up a piece of software and kind of get intimidated. And it can be quite a daunting thing. Camtasia, in comparison to other video editing softwares, is sublimely simple to use, but still, you know, there's a lot of stuff here, and you just don't know what is what. So again, what I'll do is I'll suggest you check out these little icons up here first of all, to go to the online tutorials and take a look at TechSmith stuff. What you'll find are very bite-sized chunks of how to lay things out and what everything does. But also, whenever you're confronted with what seems like a daunting task, like eating an elephant seems to be what looking at new software is like, how do you do that? And I'm going to kind of submit that it's one bite at a time, right? So here's a little trick and tip for you. Don't get too intimidated or hung up because you don't know everything. Okay, start with a very simple project that has absolutely no purpose. And one of the things my students a lot of times run into, especially, you know, if they go ahead and get the eLearning Brothers templates here, they're going to run out and they're going to try at their first crack to create a full-blown training course or something like that. You'll do yourself a huge favor by starting off just kind of learning how to swing this hammer. First of all, you know, pound a few nails before you try to build a house. And one of the good ways to do that is if you look under the help file here, you can open up a getting started project. It has no point, it has no purpose, you cannot screw it up, and you will not believe what a liberating feeling it is to not be under the pressure of trying to create an actual video right out of the gate. So that's kind of step one. Start with something stupid and small that you don't have to stress over too much. And then here's another little deal that I really kind of like that not a lot of people check out or notice. See this little bell up here? If you click that, what's going to happen is it's going to pop up all these little things from TechSmiths. And I haven't even looked at this in a while. What really happens to your video when you zoom in? Find out what you need to know to avoid a blurry video, okay? And think about that. It's like a little piece. It's something that is going to help avoid a blurry video. Well, if you just take a couple minutes and check that out, you can probably save yourself a bunch of potential time and frustration. And trust me, I know this because people ask me all the time, why is my video blurry? So instead of running into that wall, you take these little timeouts, these little bite-sized chunks here, use yellow snapping lines. Oh, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But if you kind of take it in little chunks, what you'll find is, of course, over time, all of a sudden now things are starting to happen much better and much quicker than before. So that's a good tip. Another thing in software is, and I know this flies against the face of what most of us like to do, you might want to check out the help file. Learning how to learn or learning how to overcome a problem or question that you have just by looking for an answer is probably one of the best skills you can learn as far as using software. And I got to tell you, the TechSmith help file is actually quite wonderful. You can learn a lot just by when you hit in.
Hey,
so,
Lon,
for example, I don't know, what was
Lon, can you hear me? Lon, do you hear me?
Yep.
We lost you for a second there. The audio skipped out. So if you could introduce us to that window again, that'd be great.
Okay. So one of the things is learning how to find your own answers quickly and easily, and I just was mentioning that the Camtasia help file is really a wonderful place to do that. And I won't belabor it very much, but what you'll find here are just very nice step-by-step things. You can search for anything that you're wondering about and just get a lot of information. And quite frankly, a lot of times I'll jump in and find an answer to a question and end up coming up with 2 or 3 other of those little tidbits that I can use and really just kind of take advantage just by looking at the help file. Okay, so no huge deal there. Right, so let's kind of jump into some of my favorite quick tips and things like that. And I'm going to start off with some of them that are called hotkeys. Once you start moving around in software, there are some things that you can do quickly and easily using hotkeys. And here I have a project from the eLearning folks, eLearning Brothers folks, and I'll just go ahead and let this roll. I'm using the Vintage Circus theme here. So I love this thing. It's just really kind of cool, and I've kind of modified it to a degree. I got some stuff going. Previewing it, we know can probably hit the play button here and watch it as it rolls by. So I kind of want to make sure that everything's in the right place, and all my timing and stuff is good. So preview is something that we'll do a lot, right? But there's also a almost better way to kind of do, and what it is if I click on the playhead here and hold it, I can move the playhead through time, and you'll notice that I'm kind of previewing, aren't I? This is called scrubbing, okay? And as you kind of get used to using the software, scrubbing is something that you'll do all the time, right? Trust me on this. But here's kind of an issue. So I'm going to put the playhead right here, and notice as I scrub, what happens when I get to my first clip right here, right? You'll see this yellow snap line. See my line there is yellow? Well, I kind of have to almost force it to go beyond that. And it kind of gets worse. Every time I run into something new on the timeline, watch what happens. And now I gotta jank it over there. This can actually drive you crazy if you're trying to, smoothly scrub through this. So here, I'm going to press and hold the Control key. I'm going to grab and hold the playhead and scrub, and now watch what happens. No snap lines. And I can just smooth it all. Oh, really looks good, right? I can decide what I need to work on, or if you just didn't know that little hotkey trick, getting stuck all the time. Okay, so that's one quick little tip. Let's try another one here. As you start working with a lot of the eLearning Brothers templates and stuff here, one of the things I might want to do, let's jump back to kind of the beginning here. Let's say you kind of see this swirly pattern, right? What if I want to resize that? Well, I can kind of click on it up here, but what you'll notice is I can't get to the corner handles to resize this, right? Up here, this area is called the canvas view, and whatever's in this box right here is what will show up in my final video. But be aware, make no mistake, and again you'll see this constantly in your templates, is that things can be outside your video dimensions, right? And then you animate them in, okay? So the problem I have here is that this thing is just, I can't really see it, and even if I zoom all the way out, I zoom my view all the way out, I still can't really get at the corner handles. Well, fortunately, Camtasia provides a little tool to help with this, and it's this little hand guy right here. This is called the pan tool. So if I click that, watch what happens. My cursor changes to a hand, and if I click, it grabs, right? So I click and grab, and now I can change my view or expand my view of the canvas over here. And the problem that you'll see is that I still can't resize it. You have to uncheck the hand tool. Now I can grab this guy and resize it if I want. Okay, be aware a lot of times stuff is going to be outside of where you can like get a hold of it and manipulate it the way you want. So you use the pan tool. Well, the problem is, you know, again, you got to check it and then uncheck it before you can do anything else. Here's a little quick tip. Press and hold the space bar. I got my hand, okay, and I can move things around, let go of the space bar, and boom, I'm ready to edit. Okay, a lot of folks will get confused by clicking this little tool here, and then, oh, no, I can't do anything. What am I trying to do? You'll find that moving around and grabbing elements from your projects and stuff here, all the cool call-outs and layouts and stuff you guys get, this little maneuver, boom, boom, and be ready to move and edit is just like a beautiful thing. Okay, so let's pop that back out again. And let's see, one of my other favorite hotkeys has to do with cropping. So let's move into this little video clip right here, and I'm going to click on the clip. And one of the things we can do with video, with actually any graphic element or video clip on the timeline, is to crop it. So let's say I just want the automobiles moving here. I don't need all this extraneous sky and stuff here. You can click right here. This is called the crop tool. And cropping your videos, you'll notice that the lines turn blue right here. That means I'm in crop mode, and I can then not resize, but crop this. Okay, and again, what you got to do is you got to uncheck the crop tool, or if I move to another thing to edit, notice I still have the blue lines. If I tried to resize this, it's going to crop it, not resize it. So yeah, I got to uncheck the crop tool. So your hotkey here, and just an easier way to do it, is click on what you want to crop, press and hold the Alt key, and notice the lines turn blue. Crop, crop, let go, and edit. Okay? You'll save yourself a lot of time without having to move up and back and forth, and is it checked, is it not checked? This is kind of the way you'll want to get started right. Okay, so those are a couple of cool things. Let's see, smooth scrubbing, spacebar, crop tool. Here's one of my other favorites, and this is kind of a big one. A lot of times you'll be working on a project and you'll, for lack of a better technical term, want to make a hole. So let's say, you know, I have my project on the timeline here, and at the, at the very beginning, I kind of want to put something in addition here. You know, I want to add something at the very beginning. The question is, how do you do that? Well, I could kind of grab everything and then move it down, but here is a really handy dandy trick. Okay, I'm going to put my playhead at the very beginning. I'm going to press and hold the Shift key and grab the playhead and watch what happens. Everything moves. Okay, now in my simplistic example here, that might not be a huge deal, but trust me, if you have 6, 7, 8 tracks with call-outs stacked upon each other and stuff like that, if you try to move stuff and you miss something, then you've just screwed your project up, right? It's in the wrong spot now, right? So being able to move everything is really kind of handy. This is called the shift ripple move. And by ripple, it means that everything moves. And keep in mind that it works both ways. So I shifted all my stuff to the right. I made me a hole. And when it comes time, you know, I can drop something else here. And if I need to move everything back, I'm going to use that snap line to my advantage here. Snap to the very first thing. Press and hold the Shift key. And everything moves and stays together, okay? Sometimes you want to make a hole like in the middle of something. So let's say on this clip, I want to put something in between here. So I'm going to use the same trick. You know, I kind of want to split this and move everything to the right to make that hole. Certainly I could split it and then I could try to grab everything. But you know, again, in a more complex project, you got to make sure you grab everything. Here's an easier way. Use your, hold the shift key, grab the playhead, and watch what happens. It's not only going to split it, but it's going to ripple move it, right? Instant hole, no fuss, no errors, no runs, no drips, no errors. That kind of thing, right? So I love that one. I use that like all the time. So that's kind of a nice little deal there. These little tips and tricks are the kinds of things that you kind of, if you pick up right off the bat, you'll find yourself becoming an expert just that much quicker, okay? Any questions on some of those hotkeys? I actually use quite a few hotkeys. One more I'll give you is Control S. And when it comes to hotkeys, a lot of us are probably familiar with what? Control C, Control V for copy paste. Yeah, those are great. In Camtasia, I'm going to suggest you make the Control S keys your friend, which does a save. Camtasia is a pretty reliable platform, but it is not unknown that it can crash on you. Save early, save often. And by the way, if you want to know what hotkeys are, on your menu items up here, you can see, oh, Control Z is undo and things like that. So you can kind of pick up little ones along the way just by, you know, maybe if I wanted to, say, save a project, just be aware, keep an eye out, and notice that, hey, there's a hotkey for that, and use as appropriately. Right? Shortcuts, yeah, short keys, hotkeys, whatever you kind of want to call it, is kind of the deal there. Let me work a little bit now with, let me see, where do I want to do this? Let's
Lon,
work with one of the,
I do have a few questions here. One is there a hotkey map, somewhere they can look to see all of the hotkeys in one place other than the menus?
Yeah, isn't that awesome? So let's do this. I'm going to go to TechSmith's online tutorials by clicking that little button. You can also get to it from the help menu and go to tutorials. So either help, tutorials, or the little light bulb up here. Okay. If you go here, these are some of the just awesome and excellent tutorials from TechSmith. Scroll down a bit, and they have a section called PDF Guides. Scroll down here, and you have a little mini poster, and this opens up a PDF doc that has like all the hotkeys. Well, not all of them, but like the most commonly used ones. And then they also have one that is the complete Camtasia Studio hotkeys. Nice little, you can actually print it out and work with it that way. So that's pretty fun and cool.
Okay. And then one other question is, so after you split the car video, what was the hotkey associated with the next step? So you use S to split, and then what?
Well, actually, I didn't use S to, let me undo that. By using this little shift trick with the playhead, I didn't have to split it. Okay, so let me just clarify that. I could put my playhead where I want to split this, and I could hit the split button, but you don't actually have to. So you'll notice that I am not currently split. Put the playhead where I want it, press and hold the shift key, grab the playhead, move it, and it does the split and the shift together. That's kind of the secret sauce there, right? So I hope that clarified that.
Perfect.
All right, cool. Okay, let's see. I'm going to give you a little tip and trick here on using specifically some of the eLearning Brothers templates here. Like I mentioned, I really like this theme, and I'm going to talk a little bit about groups. I love me some groups, right? Because as you probably learned in a bunch of their training and whatnot, it's really kind of the secret sauce as to how all these things stay together and work together. It's how you get things to animate as one instead of animating, say, for example, a whole bunch of different objects. Okay, you group them, and then you can animate the group, which is very handy dandy and cool. Here's a little trick though. Let me stretch this up. I'll set this up a little for you. This is one of my favorite kinds of assets are the lower thirds. Okay, anytime we can add visual interest or visual engagement, it gives our videos that kind of professional touch. And I like this. This is a nice looking lower third, right? But here's kind of the thing. Right out of the box, here's my video clip of my cars. Notice how long my video clip is. Well, it goes to here. And notice how long my lower third is. It is this long. So I got a little bit of ground to make up here if I wanted this to last through this entire video clip, right? Everybody with me so far? So let's think about this a second. One might be tempted that I could just, I'll open the group here to kind of demonstrate. One might be tempted to think that I could just grab this and move it to make it as long as I want, but there's a little bit of a problem there. So let's kind of look at and notice this for a second. Oops, trying to adjust my track height here. There we go. And let me undo that and redo that again so we can see it. So I have some animations here, which if we scrub through, basically make the lower third go away. Okay, but I don't want it to go away here. I want it to go away at the end of my video clip here. So if you grab this and move it, notice what happened there. The animations don't go with it. So I guess I could maybe grab this now and try to move it and place it where it was, but I'm going to give you a little easier trick because I guarantee currently I do not remember where this was in relation to this fade out. In fact, let me undo that. Oh, okay, it goes here, kind of in the middle. And this one, you know, needs to be in this position for the exit animation to look the way Andrew and his crew wanted it to look, right? So here's kind of a little trick that I do. I'm going to go ahead and lock my bottom track here. And I'm going to move my playhead to just before the exit stuff happens. Okay? I'll collapse this to kind of show you. But now that I've identified that point, right, you'll notice in the middle here, nothing's really happening with this. And that's what I want. I want it to stay. So I'm going to move the playhead to just before the stuff makes it go away. Okay, my playhead is positioned. I'm going to collapse this, and I'm going to split this, right? Now I'm going to move this to the end. Well, let's think about what we have here. We have all the stuff in here that makes this go away. These animations make this go away, okay? So now what I'm hoping I can do is just grab this part, the first part, and stretch it out, but here's what happens. Here's your problem. It reintroduces those animations at the same time. Okay, so here's a little trick. I'm just going to delete these, delete that, And I don't want this fade out here, so I'm going to double click this graphic, and I'm going to take the fade out off and just make it last that amount. Now when I collapse this, I can make this last literally as long as I want, and then just tuck this one back in, right? So that is a way for me to preserve the integrity of the exit animation and yet make this adjustable for as long as I want, right? So, and you might think, oh, that was kind of a lot of work, dude. But here's where grouping comes into play. Now that I've kind of fixed this up once, I remove those animations that, I don't know if it's a feature or a bug in Camtasia that makes those reappear, but anyway, I just got rid of them. And I spent that little bit of time and I did that work. So I'm going to go ahead and now group these two together, right-click, and say group. And I can go ahead then, at this point, right-click and add asset to library. So I can call this circus callout or vintage callout 1, maybe modified, right? And now anytime, and put it in my vintage folder up here, and anytime I want to use it now, let's drop it on the timeline and check it out. All I have to do is ungroup, move this, click on my last one, move it if I want to extend it, and it's always going to work now. Okay? Always going to be easy peasy, and that's kind of the power of groups. But sometimes you just got to think a little bit outside the box. Right? So that might have been a little more advanced than beginner stuff, but I just kind of wanted to show the ability to kind of work with what you have and do some interesting things. Okay. Let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about some PowerPoint stuff real quick. So I'll jump back to PowerPoint for a moment. And I get asked a lot, how do I create video content with PowerPoint? Well, I like using PowerPoint because I can do things like animations, right, and all that good stuff. And a lot of people are tempted to create their slides with all their animations and then fire up the Camtasia recorder and record their slideshow. If you didn't know this, you don't have to do that. In PowerPoint 2010 and higher, you actually have the ability to record. You go to the slideshow tab here, you can record your slideshow. And what it will do, if you choose to include narration, it's going to kick this into slideshow mode, and it's going to record everything. All my narration, my clicks, my animations, my transitions, and it's going to bake it right into the PowerPoint deck here. Okay, and then once I've recorded it the way I want, think of it as giving a live presentation on stage. It's going to capture everything. So you don't need Camtasia to do that, and this is just a bunch less complicated because you don't have to throw the Camtasia recorder and all its settings and stuff into the mix. Do your slideshow recording, go to File, Export, create a video, and it's going to kick it out at full HD, 1080p, and it's going to be flawless and beautiful, smooth, and just really kind of what you want. Okay, so that's really kind of the scoop on that. A lot of people don't know how to do that. Gosh, I'll give you just one more real quick one. A lot of people also don't know. Let me add a blank slide here, and I'll get rid of the junk on here. you can actually record your screen in PowerPoint also. If you go to Insert, and I'm in 2013, I think it's 2013 and higher, you can do a quick and dirty screen recording just by clicking this button here. That's going to open up a little deal where you can select what area you want to record, and it's going to pump it right into your slide deck. And when you go to File, Export, Create Video, any video that's included in your slide deck, along with your narrations, animations, transitions, slide advances, all that's going to be baked into a video clip that you can then pull into your clip bin in Camtasia and use in your projects. Okay? All right, that's kind of what I wanted to go over. I hope I didn't go too long on time. Wanted to leave a few minutes for questions. What do you got for me?
I'm looking through here and I'm not seeing any new questions. I will keep this handy though as new questions come on. You mentioned this this circus theme. Would you mind showing where you got that?
I got this at eLearning Brothers. It's one of the themes in their Camtasia libraries, and these are really pretty content-packed themes, and pretty much for whatever kind of project you want to make. The thing with Camtasia is, we'll just back this up a little bit and go look at my library. Camtasia comes with some assets in what's called the library. And from the library, you can go and look at things, and you'll find these collections of things that, like title clips. And if you don't know this, to preview these, you just double-click on them, right? So this has got an animated video background, and you can change titles and things like that, call-outs, lower thirds, all kinds of stuff. And, you know, it comes with some. You can actually click the Get More Media button right here and find some on TechSmith, but here's the problem. The latest one I can find on TechSmith was updated in like 2000, I don't know, 11. So where do you find new themes and assets and things that you can use? And that's kind of how I hooked up and came across you guys, Andrew, is I was looking for stuff that I could use to embellish my library and not have to do all the work of creating some of these really neat and interesting things and have all these reusable components that I can use. So the eLearning folks, eLearning Brothers folks have put together just tons of stuff. And by tons, I mean literally hundreds of templates, but stock assets, graphics, audio, PowerPoint graphics and elements. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff here, dudes. Brothers.
All right, great. Thank you for that.
You guys been busy or something.
Yep, we're developing new templates every day, trying to make sure that these libraries are large, versatile, and always growing. Another question here, the advantages and disadvantages of recording the audio at the same time as your screen recording.
That is an awesome question, and I'll tell you what, it moves right into the freebie that I want to give to everybody. Here's the thing. When the disadvantages, I'm going to use PowerPoint as an example here. So let's say I want to record this slide deck. And yes, I can go into slideshow, record slideshow, and start recording and start talking and clicking. The problem with that is I'm talking, I'm clicking, you know, I'm doing multiple things at once. And anytime you do that, what's going to happen? Well, you're going to make mistakes. And one of the things we can do is, as video creators, not presenting on a live stage, we actually have the ability to record our audio first. And this is something I do all the time, especially for important videos. If I'm creating a training course, you can bet I'm scripting it out. Okay, and what I do is I will typically fire up a program, an audio recording program like Audacity. Where's my Audacity? There it is. You'll notice it's pinned right here. And I will go through my script and I will record the audio. Then in Audacity, I will edit that audio. I will cut out all the mistakes and I will enhance the sound with some of the effects like normalization, equalization, and compression. And I will kick that audio file out. And there's actually a trick that you can do to embed your audio file into your slide deck and then just click through and listen to your perfect audio as it goes by, right? And the thing that does is it removes the complexity of having to do two things at once, speak and click. And by the way, your audio is always the same. So you can go through and get really good at getting the timing of your clicks and stuff down, right? And so I've reduced a bunch of complexity and mistakes in doing that scenario. So again, the biggest advantage of recording your audio first is you can get it complete, you can get it edited, and it's going to be perfect and again the same every time, as opposed to being laden with mistakes. If I walked through this and just recorded this live, I promised I wouldn't do it the same way twice and things like that. And gosh, now I'm looking at a whole bunch of editing time. And then even beyond that, and I'll just jump over here real quick. So for your freebie today, I have for you what I call the Ultimate PowerPoint Video Recording Guide. And this is an unlisted playlist on one of my YouTube channels. It's all about PowerPoint video, so please don't share this necessarily. I'll put the link in the chat box for this. And what I do in this is basically walk through what I call the good, better, and best methods of recording PowerPoint video. And I say PowerPoint here, but in answer to the question, it really goes kind of to almost any kind of video that you're creating. The good method is recording live. How to record it live, like I just kind of walked through using the record slideshow. The second method is how to embed that already pre-recorded audio into the slide deck and click through listening to it. And then the third method is the best method, where I don't even care about when I click in PowerPoint. I'm going to match everything up and line things up perfectly in Camtasia. So I'm really just going to capture all the animations and slide advances and kick that out as a video, take my awesome audio file, pull the video and audio into Camtasia, and then line everything up with some super cool tips and tricks. Right, so there you go. And there's a sample of what an end result looks like there also.
Great, that's a great freebie.
How's that?
I hope everybody takes advantage of that. Those are some very useful videos that will be able to help you jumpstart and continue to improve your screen recording skills. I'm going to take the screen back, Lon, if that's all right.
Sounds good to me.
There were a few questions about where to get those templates. If you go to elearningbrothers.com, which is what you're seeing here, there's templates by software, and you can see all of the different softwares that we make templates for. If you click on Camtasia, it'll bring you to this page, and you can scroll down. You can see these prices. All of the themes that Lon mentioned are available in the Camtasia templates package for only $149, and that'll give you unlimited downloads of all of the themes that you want there. So that's a great resource for you. If you have questions about these prices or what's included or anything on our page, there is a chat option here in the corner of our site. Feel free to jump in there and ask questions. And this is, again, this is a great resource for the screencaster. If you're using Camtasia to as a video editor, if you're actually using a camera and recording video, Camtasia is useful there, and you can also use those templates for lower thirds or other e-learning uses as well, just video productions. Another asset for you if you'd like to continue to develop your screencasting skills is learncamtasia.com. This is where Lon Naylor, our guest, has put a lot of information up here for you to learn from. You've got several courses. You had a special particular course, Lon, you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I actually put a link in the chat box. One of the courses I find that I enjoy personally the most and that our students get a lot out of, and actually I see some of our folks on the call here tonight, is my screencast coaching program, where we have webinars every week and a recorded archive of, oh gosh, almost 200 webinars with 800 topics, 800 plus topics. Think of each one of these little tidbits that I shared with you tonight as being like a topic. There are over 800 in the webinar archive, that kind of thing. So I'm kind of partial to my coaching program, and like I say, I put a link to that in the chat box for everybody.
All right, so go ahead and grab yourself a template package and then go arm yourself with those and go learn some more Camtasia tips from learncamtasia.com. I'll open up the questions one more time, see if we have anything new. It doesn't look like we do. Hopefully we'll see everybody in the future on these two websites and in future webinars. Anything else you'd like to add, Lon?
No, just thanks for having me. I could talk about Camtasia stuff all day. I'm amazed that I kept it as short as I did. So I usually get a little excited and run off at the mouth. So.
Well, thanks for being with us, and thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, everybody.